You know that person who meets someone new, and boom, they already feel a deep connection, like they've known them forever. They don't hesitate. They fall fast. They text back instantly. They wear their heart on their sleeve like it's a fashion statement. You might think it's romantic, or maybe a little intense, but have you ever wondered why some people form emotional attachment so quickly? Today we're going to explore the real psychology behind getting attached too fast. Not just surface-level cliches, but the emotional core that drives it. And by the end of this video, you'll understand whether fast attachment is a sign of love, a sign of insecurity, or something deeper that lives beneath the surface, something most people never talk about. Let's begin with a question: why do some people connect deeply in a heartbeat, while others take months, sometimes years, to feel comfortable opening up? The short answer is that attachment styles shape the way we bond with others. And for some, that bond feels like a necessity rather than a choice. Most of us don't realize it, but how we learn to connect emotionally as children sets the stage for how we connect as adults. When people grow up in environments where emotional needs aren't consistently met, where love felt unpredictable or conditional, the brain learns that stability is scarce, and connection must be secured fast. This can create a pattern where intimacy isn't just desired, it's urgent. Imagine this: you're in a house where love sometimes came with strings attached. Maybe your parents were emotionally unavailable, unpredictable, or only affectionately present when certain conditions were met. As a child, your brain learns, to get love, I have to grab it fast when it appears. That setup doesn't just disappear when you become an adult. It becomes a default wiring pattern, a subconscious emotional drive. So when someone new shows warmth, attention, or care, even early in a relationship, your brain signals, this might be the only chance I get, I have to latch on now. That's when attachment becomes fast, intense, and sometimes overwhelming. This psychological pattern is rooted in something called anxious attachment. Anxious attachment doesn't mean someone doesn't love themselves. It means their inner emotional compass is calibrated to fear of losing love, fear of emotional abandonment, fear of not being enough. And that fear pushes them to grab closeness before it slips away. But here's the twist: while it may feel like deep emotional connection, fast attachment isn't always about love. More often, it's about fear of loneliness. It's not that the person doesn't want love, it's that they fear being alone more than they fear anything else. This fear can show up in a few subtle ways. People who get attached quickly tend to prioritize relationships over personal needs, interpret ambiguous friendliness as deep romantic interest, assume closeness means commitment, feel anxious if emotional attention isn't constantly reaffirmed, self-soothe anxiety by projecting long-term expectations onto early interactions. Notice something here? The emotional drive isn't just affection, it's anxiety about emotional security. When someone mirrors affection back, the nervous system says, finally, a safe place. But that sense of safety can be fragile, because it formed not from emotional equilibrium, but from emotional scarcity. Now here's where it gets really interesting. This fast attachment doesn't happen because the person lacks the capacity for deep love. In fact, they care deeply, sometimes too deeply. Their hearts aren't shallow, they're hungry. And hunger makes the heart observe love as something finite, something you must catch quickly or lose forever. One of the most common misconceptions is that people who get attached too quickly are clingy or needy for no good reason. But what many people don't realize is that emotional needs are shaped by early experiences. And what feels like needy to one person feels like survival to another. The brain does something interesting here: it treats emotional connection as safety and regulation. When you feel connected, your nervous system relaxes, stress hormones drop, dopamine rises, oxytocin flows. But if someone grew up never consistently feeling that safety, then every perceived opportunity for connection becomes a source of emotional regulation. That means attachment isn't just a preference, it's part of emotional equilibrium. And this brings up another psychological mechanism most people overlook: internal working models. These are deep, often unconscious templates we carry about love, including how available we expect others to be, whether love feels conditional or stable, and whether relationships are a source of security or anxiety. For someone with an anxious internal working model, early relationship cues are interpreted with urgency. A smile isn't just a friendly gesture, it's proof of acceptance. A thoughtful text isn't just kindness, it's confirmation of belonging. And when you're wired to feel that acceptance might be rare or temporary, your brain prioritizes locking that connection in immediately. But here's the paradox: while fast attachment can feel like a form of intense love, it often sets up a vulnerability because the attachment forms before reality does. In other words, the emotional bond gets built on interpretation, not actual evidence of long-term commitment. You fall in love with potential, perceived warmth, hope, an imagined future connection, even though the relationship itself might still be in its infancy. That's why at times it can feel like the heart is racing ahead of reality, faster than the relationship has actually unfolded in real life. This isn't weak. It isn't dramatic. It's a nervous system looking for safety in unfamiliar territory. So how do people with this pattern grow? They don't stop caring deeply, they learn how to regulate the emotional signals that drive that depth. They start to understand that reciprocity takes time. Recognize that emotional closeness isn't a race. Distinguish between feelings and attachment needs. Build internal safety before expecting external validation. The fascinating thing psychology has discovered is that attachment styles aren't fixed, they evolve with awareness and secure emotional experiences. When someone experiences consistent emotional reliability from others, their nervous system gradually rewires. They learn that connection isn't scarce, and they no longer need to attach so quickly or desperately. This doesn't mean they become detached or emotionally cold. It means they become emotionally secure, able to feel connection deeply without depending on it for survival. Their love isn't like a lifeline, it's like a garden that grows naturally, fed by mutual presence, patience, and emotional maturity. In essence, people who attach quickly are not broken, they are people who learned early that emotional safety was unpredictable. Their attachment pattern is a strategy, a survival strategy, that once served them, but now may be holding them back from healthier, balanced connections. Once they realize that attachment doesn't need to be instant to be real, something powerful shifts. The fear of losing connection slowly fades. The need to grab emotional intimacy early loses its urgency. And what remains is not anxiety, but trust grounded in real interactions over time. If you've ever felt this way, or noticed it in someone else, don't judge it. Understand it. Psychology doesn't label this behavior as a flaw. It explains it. It humanizes it. And once we understand it, we step into the possibility of healthier emotional connection without fear, without rush, and without anxiety.